Hi, welcome to HeKate's Crossing. Oh, you're starting out and you're looking at tarot decks. And there's so many out there, and I've given you some suggestions and some ideas about decks you could use. Shared with you some Tarot de Marseille style decks. Now, let me continue this by sharing with you other Rider-Waite-Smith type decks that will come out, that you will see, but are a little bit more advanced. They're the sort of the next stage of learning tarot. Okay, so you've got the Rider-Waite-Smith, as you saw, with the let me show, with like the Smith-Waite. Okay, you've got the Smith-Waite, okay, or something similar. There's lots of Radiant Wise Spirit tarot. There's heaps of Rider-Waite-Smith type imagery decks, loads and loads that you can use. Okay, so then you have the Before Tarot. Whoops. Don't mean to knock over the dolphins. Okay, so you've got the Before Tarot. So let me have a look at the Ace of Wands, and this one is just where we are at. Let me just grab the Ace of Wands with the Before one. Let me have a look. Now there's lots and lots of different decks that are Rider-Waite-Smith based, but they come from a different perspective, if you like. You can look at them from a different perspective. There's lots and lots of decks out there, and so it's quite interesting when you sort of start looking at the imagery like from a different perspective. So I didn't find it. So here I am talking to you and not being able to find the card that I particularly want. Isn't that typical? Oh, here it is, Ace of Wands. So you can sort of see the difference here with the before. He's reaching out. Here he's actually grabbed it. And then we have the After Tarot as well. Let me just put this to one side. So you can sort of see, just give you a really good look at this. So this is the After Tarot. Let's have a look here. Oh, the salamander in it, in the hand. So you can sort of see the different imagery. Now I've also got the Vice Versa Tarot as well as another alternative. So you've got the Before, here I've got the Smith-Waite. You can use any Rider-Waite-Smith, of course. Then you've got the After. Now I know there's Tarot of New Visions, there's Opposition, Tarot of Oppositions. This is the Vice Versa. So let's have a look at the Ace of Wands. Now remember, these are based on Rider-Waite-Smith imagery, even though it's slightly different. Just gives you that other alternative. So that's what I love. Just have a look and see what the Ace of Wands is like in this one here. Ace of Pentacles. There we go. Ace of Wands. So in this one here, I mean, you can see the differences. I mean, you can see that vice versa is not really a Rider-Waite-Smith imagery, but it sort of follows that same sort of rule. And you'll find a lot of decks do that. But with the vice versa, you've got that side, and then you've got the dark with the lightning striking it, giving it that spark of energy. The holding up. So yeah, you can sort of see that there. And then you've got, I forgot to show you, this. Now there's a Universal Tarot as well. Now the Universal Tarot is based on Rider-Waite-Smith. Again, there are some differences. So let me just put these away. Make sure I got that in the right spot. So let's put this away. So you can see here, these are all based on Rider-Waite-Smith imagery. Again, there are some differences with the colours and things like that. So I just want to show you some alternative decks that you could will come across. Now some of these decks will be suitable as a beginner, and some of these decks are a little bit more advanced. Definitely feel like most of these are sort of give you that sort of advanced sort of energy. That Universal Tarot I should have shown you, and maybe one of the other. But anyway, so let's put the vice versa back. Let's put the before and after back. So yeah, it just sort of gives you a little bit of an alternative when looking at different tarot decks. Now some of these are going to be quite advanced and definitely wouldn't recommend for beginners. Things like the Santamuerte Tarot is quite different, quite unique, even though it does follow that sort of energy. It is quite different, quite unique, and definitely not a beginner's deck. This one I would reserve if you're a little bit more advanced, you've had some practice with tarot and you're feeling a little bit more confident, and you want to embrace that connection. So that's the Santamuerte Tarot. Then you have like the Starman Tarot, definitely an advanced. There's definitely some differences there. There's a lot more to it. There's a lot of imagery. It's quite a cluttered deck, so it has got a lot going on. So if you like decks that have a lot of colour, a lot of vibrancy, this is a really cool deck to work with. Again, when you've had a bit more study and you've had time to sort of get to know tarot, definitely is a good choice in that. So let me just put those to one side. Again, I'm just sort of going through. Okay, so we've got decks like the Epic Tarot. Again, advanced because it has different suits. It's got Sabias, the chalices, it has the books instead of wands, so they do have that differences. So definitely feel as though this is a deck that is much more as an advanced deck, something once you've got a little bit of knowledge with tarot that you could experience. So yeah, definitely an advanced deck. Got Fairy Lights Tarot. Again, it's a deck that actually tells a story through the cards, but definitely feel as though this is a more slightly different than a beginner's deck. Got a lot more to it. Doesn't follow Rider-Waite-Smith in its imagery. It's quite unique in its own way. So again, I feel like it's a deck that could be a little bit more, if you've got a real basic understanding of tarot and you want to explore something a bit further, Fairy Lights Tarot is definitely an option there. Now you will come across some decks that are pip decks, very similar to like the Jane Wallace ones, but again they won't have keywords or anything on them. So this is the Tarot Familiar. So again, I think if you've got a little bit of an understanding about tarot, you might find this a really easy deck to work with. You could learn the suits and the number associations if you're wanting to read with this deck, and then you're only learning like the major arcana and the court cards, of course. So there's Tarot Familiar, is another alternative. Just want to go through some of these decks just to give you an idea of some of the other alternatives that you could look to. Now you're going to get a lot of cultural decks as well. Things like the Hoodoo Tarot. With the different titles again, if you've got a really understanding of tarot, it is quite unique in its own way, and it just gives you that, if you're interested in hoodoo, I mean there's other decks with other cultures of course, which could things. I showed you the Santa Muerte Tarot, and then you've got this one here, the Hoodoo Tarot, and there is a Voodoo Tarot out there as well. So there are other decks with other cultures which are a little bit more, I think it's someone, if you've read tarot for a while, be a good alternative. Now there's a Chinese Tarot. Again, I think if you've been reading tarot for a while, because it's a pish deck, but also because it's not really pish, but it's got a sense of imagery that's a little different. It's quite unique. I think this would be an advanced reader once you've got an understanding of that tarot. Gives you that alternative. I love sharing some of my decks with you, just to give you a little bit of an idea of some of the decks that are out there that you can explore once you've got a little bit more understanding about tarot. So we've got the Silver Witchcraft here. Again, I think this has got quite a Rider-Waite-Smith type energy to it. There's lots of sort of everyday witch tarot, which is quite good for a beginner. But then you've got the ones that I feel are a little bit more advanced, maybe, or a little bit different, a little bit unique. You could read with this if you wish to, if you're really drawn to it as a beginner. I feel like you could, but there are some differences indeed. So like the Chariot card here, it's not going to be a traditional imagery like the Rider-Waite-Smith. So it has got its uniqueness to it as well. But I'd just love to share some of the decks. Right, okay, another deck I want to sort of share with you, which I think is quite important, is, and a lot of people have seen this, is the Tarot of the Divine. Oops. Now this is a beautiful deck. This shares legends and stories, so if you really want to explore the legends and the stories and the myths of the different cultures from around the world, this is a beautiful deck to explore on many levels. I don't want to show you all my decks in one go, I just want to sort of share a few. Now you will come across TV series, movies, things like that. So you've got like Supernatural Tarot. Now this is really based on the characters, so this is a really good deck if you know the story or know the TV series or the movie. These type of decks are really cool. I've been doing a little bit of study with this deck. You'll find on different videos on my channel. So again, this has got some pip in it, even though it does have in its characters. It's not really scenery and stuff. You haven't got a lot of stuff going on. So unless you really know the characters, these type of decks can be quite difficult to start with. The other one is the Labyrinth Tarot I've got here. So again, you've got this storyline, you've got the junk, you've got the different titles and the different suits are slightly different. Like you've got the poles, the junks, the pots, and the feathers. So again, you've got these differences here. So this is a really cool, again, once you know the storyline, you know the characters, you've done a bit of study with the deck, it does become a little bit easier. So yeah, it just gives you an idea of some of the decks that are available. I wanted to look at mass market really. You've got decks like Tarot Decorative, which is another tarot deck, but it mixes Tarot de Marseille with the Rider-Waite-Smith in some way. So again, you're blending two systems in one. So you can choose how you wish to read the cards, of course. But again, once you have a little bit of an understanding of tarot, this gives you another way to look at messages and things that are coming through. So yeah, just gives you some ideas and suggestions if you're looking at tarot. Now you will come across maybe decks that are maybe a little bit in depth, like the Mary L Tarot. This is the first edition. There is a second edition out now, which has got some differences in some of the images, and of course the cards are slightly different, they're borderless and slightly different. So anyway, of course that's it. So Mary L Tarot. Now you'll find decks that come across that have a Thoth based meanings, as well as Rider-Waite-Smith, sort of traditional. You can read them any way you like. It's totally up to you how you read the cards, of course, but it just sort of gives you this book that goes with the Mary L is a little bit more. The imagery is quite different. It's not traditional in Rider-Waite-Smith type imagery. It is quite unique. So again, it's more an advanced tarot deck. There. Okay, so there's lots of indie decks out there as well that are quite unique. So like there's the Coffee Tarot, which follows sort of everyday stuff. The titles can be slightly different. It's done with the elements. So you've got like French press. So there are some differences with the titles of the cards as well. And there's no numbers on them on the major arcana. So again, you've got that sort of advanced sort of deck, but you could sit and learn them if you wish to study and spend some time with. You can learn any tarot deck if you wish to put the time in it. Any of these advanced decks, if you really feel as though you really want, that's the deck that you really want, you really like the artwork, there's nothing to stop you from learning. Same with the Thoth Tarot. Okay, I haven't shown you that yet. Again, you've got the esoteric, but with the Thoth, they do have keywords on the minor arcana, so it's not too hard to begin to learn to read with them. You'd have to learn the keywords, of course, for the major arcana, for sure. Just going through, just grabbing these, and there are some differences in regards to the king and the prince, of course, and the princess and the queen. So there are some differences there with the court cards. Just trying to grab one. Just going to grab a court card, and we're just trying to grab one here. Oh, and it's lust, of course, instead of, and it's I mean, the titles are slightly different, of course. So here we have the Knight of Discs instead of the King of Discs. Got the Prince of Discs. Or Knight, Prince, the Prince of Discs instead of the King. So there are some differences here which you sort of have to. So you've got the Knight, the Prince, the Queen, and the Princess. So again, you've got some differences there. So something you'd have to sort of do once you've got some study. Now with the Thoth Tarot, they do bring in astrology and Kabbalah if you wish to. I mean, that's another aspect. If you want to study it, you don't have to. You could read Thoth just by reading, like I said, just learning the basic keywords for those court cards and the major arcana, and use the keywords on the minor arcana if you wish to. Now there's lots of different sizes with the Thoth, so you can look at that too as another alternative. Now, like I said, you'll come across lots of indie decks that have got different systems, different things going on. Like you have the Telerik Tarot here, which is crystals and plants. They have the different, they've got a few extra cards in there with the zeros and of each suit, and they don't have the court cards the same. They've just got 11, 12, 13 and 14 of the suit. The different suits will be like emotion, drive, mind and domain. So they've got that differences there. Done based on the elements, of course, the crystals and plants. A bit different there. So you will come across tarot decks like that that just have a little bit more difference to them. There's lots of amazing independent decks that are a little bit different. Like you've got the Māori Tattoo one. It's in New Zealand. Again, you've got cultural decks that are a little bit different, a little bit out there. We've got some different titles. It's got some different suits. So again, I mean, you could sit and learn them if you wanted to. Nothing's stopping you from choosing an advanced deck. If you've got the commitment to learning, you've got the commitment to really sort of diving deep into them, definitely recommend as an alternative. But totally, I mean, up to you what you do. Just gives you some ideas and some suggestions, different decks to work with. There's so much to choose. Like Christoph James, he's got a range of decks out there. There's a Crowley one, again got the advanced, and then his little pocket tarot. I mean, nothing's stopping you from going through and learning the deck if you wish to as a newbie, but it is going to take you a little bit more time, a little bit more understanding. You can compare it to Rider-Waite-Smith. You could sit down and pull out a Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck or a Tarot de Marseille or a Thoth tarot and use that as a comparison if you wish to. Totally up to you to compare different decks and things with it. So anyway, that's it from me. Don't forget to check the links down below, check the links on my channel, like, subscribe and ring the bell to know when the next video will be uploaded. Take care and blessings.